Yo, what is up? It's Sammy, and I'm here with some more exclusive Monster Hunter World footage. Today I have some longsword gameplay, but instead of fighting the intended Anjanath, we all decided to take on the Rathalos instead. Like my last video, I'll be giving you my first impressions and explanation during the hunt using longsword, but this video will be more so focused on just watching the hunt, so we can just enjoy this footage mostly in its entirety. I'm hunting with Shepherd of Teamwork Cast, Omnitoad, and Kogath, just like last time. I have links in the description for where you can find them and check out their content. So I'm using the longsword, like I said earlier. The only one available, unfortunately, was the Rathalos one. So it was fire, so we didn't have the elements on our side. I'm also using the Anjanath armor, which is fire res, so that does help us out. So in the beginning of this, we go to the top right camp because that is the closest to Rathalos. So that's where we started for this hunt. I grabbed some items out the box, potions, rations, all that kind of stuff. And we just head right over to the Rathalos. It's cool right there. It was like I jumped off that cliff and I just automatically grabbed that vine. I didn't have to press anything. So it looked like it just built some of those environment movements around just right into just walking around, which is just, it just feels really fluid and clean. Just like right there, crawling through that space. I didn't have to duck down or anything like that. It was all just fluid and built in. So you can see Rathalos looks gorgeous in this game. With the game being, HD, it's running at, I think, 30 frames. It might have been a little bit better. I was capturing at 30 frames, so I'm not too sure if it was running at 60. But it was definitely a 1080p full HD resolution, and it looks great. You can see his scales and all the details and so many more things about him. So using the longsword felt really natural. There's really only about 2 new attacks. So the way you play the longsword previously, just translate it right over. Much easier in this as compared to with Charge Blade. This, the way the buttons change makes it a bit more getting used to, but since with the Spirit Gauge, when you use R, you're most likely spamming it a few times anyway, so it wasn't too hard to adjust to use the R2. So you can see right there, I just put on the Rocksteady mantle, and then immediately I have to put on the glider mantle. That was me messing around with the radial menu and getting used to how that works. I'm still not exactly sure how it works. If you hold L and you move the right stick, the menu comes up, but I'm not sure if you use the item just by hovering over it and letting go of the stick, or if you have to click the middle or not. But yeah, I put both of those on and then again took them off by accident because I wasn't sure of the controls. So right here, I'm using the paralyzed knives through the slinger. After the first hunt with the Charge Blade, I got a bit more used to how it worked, so I was able to aim those and get that off. So just like before, you use your R to build up your spirit meter. Or sorry, you do your normal attacks to build up your spirit meter, and then you use R to do your spirit combo. When you land that final hit, that brings you up a level, increasing your attack. So right here, I just did the, I think it's called the Spirit Helm Breaker. It's when you do an attack and you launch in the air, and when you come back down, you do the slash that has kind of a delayed attack, and it does like a slash effect on the monster. And when you connect that last attack, your spirit gauge starts building on its own. It starts increasing on its own. So that's like the bonus to connecting that attack. And it feels super fluid just doing that. It's R2 and triangle, I believe. So just while you're attacking, you just hit R2 triangle, and then you do that first lunge. And if you connect there, then you go up in the air and you come back down. And if you connect when you come down, then your spirit meter starts automatically building up by itself. So right here, I'm just trying to mark Rathalos. So the scout flies will track him and show where he is. Because as you can see, this map it seems, at least right now, huge, since we're all new to it. And with there being so many different depths and heights within the map, it's kind of difficult to figure out where you're going. There's actually some footage I cut out later in the video of just 5 minutes of me running around trying to find out where Rathalos is, because I'm not used to the map. So since this is the first monster from previous titles that we've seen and were able to fight, I know a lot of people were kind of uncertain as to whether the game was still Monster Hunter, if things are too easy or anything like that. And myself, as well as Shepard, Omnitoad, and Kogath, will definitely confirm for you that Rathalos is still Rathalos. He flies, he does his claws, does his fireballs, he's still an ass. He's definitely still Rathalos. So another thing to note with that attack is it brings your spirit meter up and makes it start to regen on its own, but it uses up a spirit level. So if I'm at level 1, it takes me down to no level. If I'm at level 2, it takes me down to level 1, so on and so forth. So that's how they kind of balance that attack, which is super cool to see that they even took things like arts and styles from like the previous games, Double Cross and Generations, and just kind of integrated that into the playstyle and moveset of the weapon. But it still doesn't feel extremely overpowered or anything like that. It still totally feels fair, which is awesome. So that move I just did right there was the counter, or called the Foresight Slash. So I didn't get hit on the counter, but it looks like when you do that and you counter something and then connect, it automatically fills your gauge, your spirit gauge, all the way up. So if you do that and you don't miss, you lose all your spirit gauge, because when you do that attack, it takes whatever you have in your spirit gauge and empties it. But if you counter and connect, it fills it all the way back up. So then you can just go right into doing your spirit combo and go up to your next level. So between those two new moves, the Foresight Slash and the Spirit Thrust, followed by the Helm Breaker, it's kind of a rotation in building levels and building spirit gauge management, which is really cool. It adds some more depth to the longsword and makes you think a bit more about the moves you're actually doing and when you want to do them. So right there, we got the tail cut a little bit earlier. Carved that and makes a nice juicy sound when you carve the parts now, which is really nice. So this is what I was mentioning before, just how vast the map is and how important the scout flies are to help you track things. I think the scout flies are a great addition in showing how huge the world is, and also would just show that if we did still have paintballs, it just wouldn't work with there being so many different levels to the maps and how expansive they really are. A paintball just wouldn't give you the same kind of idea in tracking. So I put on the glider mantle this time on purpose with the intention of using it and hopefully seeing how that works. Like I said, Rathalos is still Rathalos. He's taken us out. I don't know if he gets 1 or 2 carts in this hunt, but he just got 1 at least, and yeah, he does heavy damage. So right there, that's the glider mantle. You just jump off a ledge and it just triggers on its own. You don't have to press any buttons or anything like that. And it feels a lot like the Breath of the Wild kind of paraglider. So right there, that was really cool. So Rathalos has like his own kind of animation to squeeze in between tight spaces and things like that, which is so cool to see that not only the hunters are adapting to these environments, but also the monsters are too. So right there, that was a counter that I got the counter off when he ran, but I didn't connect the follow-up. So it used all my spirit gauge, but I didn't get anything back because I didn't hit the follow-up. So right there, I did the counter, but I did connect the follow-up. So it used my spirit gauge, but then it filled right back up. So I can just go right into doing a spirit combo and get my level up. But Rathalos didn't want any of that. Stop me with a poison claw. So right here, I unintentionally put on the Rocksteady mantle, but it ends up helping me out. So I take this antidote down, and he's roaring, but since I have the Rocksteady mantle on, it doesn't matter at all. I just walk right through that roar. So you can see right there that launching your friends is still in the game, just as it always has been. So I got launched right there by the greatsword, but was able to follow it up with a nice aerial attack and continue my combos. What's cool right here is so Rathalos just grabbed me, and the way the pins now are, they're just kind of an animation that follow up with some other things if you don't dodge out soon enough. So he just grabbed me, did his almost seismic toss, like what Charizard does from Pokemon, and then just threw me. It looks super cool. So right here, we use the environment to try to do some damage on him. You see right there, that did 760 damage, but Rathalos just doesn't care. He just takes that damage and just stays in the air. We were trying to get him out there so we could hit him easier, but he didn't seem to care too much. So this is cool to see that at any point during the hunt, you can just fast travel to other camps. So that can help you move around a bit more and get to where you need to go, especially in times like this when monsters are just able to fly and just go wherever they want to. So right here, I just cut about 3-4 minutes out of me just running around trying to find out where Rathalos is. Even though the scout flies are there, it's still hard to sometimes get around where you're trying to go, since the maps are still new to all of us. We're not really too sure of where everything is and what routes lead to where. Scout flies definitely help, though. I would have been running around for until the end of the quest if I didn't have those to guide me at least a little bit. So unfortunately, we weren't able to take down the Rathalos. We got a timeout. But the hunt was still a ton of fun, and it definitely goes to show that Rathalos is still Rathalos. Hopefully next time we fight him, whenever that is, we get a chance to take him down. Thank you folks for coming by and checking out the video. Make sure to throw subscribe, like, comment, all that cool stuff. And hopefully I'll see you guys on the next video.